Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about economics and crypto and lots of other fun things. Before we dive on into this, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification button, leave a comment in the comment section, hit the like button, all for the algorithm if you haven't already. In today's video, I want to revisit a video that I made a couple Sundays ago titled 10 Cryptos I Will Be Buying at or Near Their Local Bottoms. And here's the deal. I've gotten a lot of questions about the C wave and what's the C wave. It's the thesis for why I thought these particular cryptos would go to certain price points. It is the bottom of an ABC correction that should hopefully lead now to new all-time highs. And is that C wave done? If so, then what do we do with these particular entries? And how about we start out with one thing real quick? ABC, the ABC correction, talked about it already. So A wave from the $112,000 peak. As soon as we lost this green trend line right here, I started thinking in terms of either a chop or an ABC correction. And then once I saw this B wave here and not hitting a new all-time high, I definitely was 100% in this camp of like, okay, ABC corrections in play. Bitcoin is going to go under $100,000, and altcoins, certain altcoins, I'm going to target them for particular entries. That's exactly what happened. Bitcoin on Sunday went under 97,000 to the low 98 level. It had a fantastic day on Monday, bounced back. At the time that I'm making this video, it's at 105 and change. And so is the C wave done? Is the C wave done? Well, a couple of thoughts right here. First of all, I will say short answer. I lean towards yes, that the C wave is done. If we were to draw some kind of a trend line here, you could even call that a channel. Perhaps this, what we've seen here is a breakthrough, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of a back test on this channel. Maybe if it were today around 103, maybe throughout the week it would go down to 103, 102. I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't have to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised. But this, to me, I lean towards that it communicates that we are done with the ABC correction, in this $98,000 level was the bottom. Now, my friend Devin hopped on my live stream earlier yesterday, and he told me he has a new bet to shave his beard that we will hit a new all-time high with Bitcoin before we hit 92K, and not saying that we would hit 92K. Now, he highlighted the possibility after this bottoming out that maybe we'd go to 97,000 or something like that. And so is that a possibility? It's yes, it could happen. It could definitely happen. Will it happen? We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I lean towards no, but I'm open-handed on it. And if it happens, I'm just begging you not to panic, because by no means will it be over if that does happen. It's just the final leg of the C wave. Now, revisiting this, there were largely positive results with each of these cryptocurrencies listed, these 10 cryptos here. My entry for Solana filled within pennies. So if you got in on that, that was my highest confidence play. And so let me pull up the Solana chart here so you can see what I'm talking about. It got right to my level. 125.97 was the level. Now, I set a limit order a little bit higher than that, because what tends to happen is that the traders will enter right at just a little bit higher. That happens a ton. And so I've had my heart broken too many times. And you can see that's exactly what happened. 125.97 was the level that I was targeting, and we got to 126.03. I don't remember my exact entry, but it did fill. And I've already closed it, because we could certainly end up sweeping the lows of that liquidation wick. But Solana looks pretty good. Nice bounce there on Solana. What was another one? So we saw the other one that filled within near a penny, within pennies, was Fartcoin, believe it or not. And so we can go to Fart Coin and we can see. And if you're wondering, if you're watching this video, like I am recapping a little bit, but I am going to talk about what to kind of do here, what to do next. You know, should you give up on any of these entries or not? You can see Fart Coin got to 79.84 cents. So I'm going to claim victory on both of those. Tau did not go to that level. In Jasmy, Tau, Jasmy, and Brett. And yeah, let me just say these three in Injective. Tau, Jasmy, Brett, and Injective did not go to those levels. So should we give up hope on that? It's a case-by-case basis for each of them, and I'm going to look at each of those in a second. So the other ones, now we have Aave. Aave went a fair amount below 243, but, you know, it's at 263 right now. So it went to 214 even. It had a daily close below there. I consider that kind of a soft win. You know, it definitely went lower than where I thought it did. I hope you didn't open some kind of high leverage long there. And so Aave, it's higher than the entry that I gave you. My hope is that really you just bought spot on those things. Pendle, same deal. It went a little bit lower than 338, but it was still okay. $3.11. I opened a long and got stopped out on that, so I lost money on Pendle, but I hope you didn't. You can see how it's followed along my projection very well. And then what else do we have here? Sui was probably the one that hurt my feelings the most. And will I survive? I will certainly survive. But there was such a large gap on Sui as to where it was going to go. You know, you can see I laid out this box here from this big candle, and I just thought we were going to have to fill that box. And where did Sui go to? It looks like, and this is something that happened, so pay attention to this. It looks like it filled at the top wick of the candle preceding this large body right here. So the top wick was 229. And the entry, the bottom for Sui right here was 229. That's where it got to on Sunday. And the top of that wick is about 229. So just something for future reference to pay attention to. My entry was 226. It is what it is. You know, I got some good entries over the weekend. Now, for the rest of these, is there a chance? Actually, VeChain filled very well and had a very encouraging close. And you can see it wicked a decent amount below my level of entry. I had a long set on it, and I was in a loss for a while. I just trusted the process and let it go, and I made some money on the long. So the question that you might be asking yourself is, will we revisit any of these levels? Looking where Bitcoin is, I mean, there is a scenario where I could see it happen. So maybe I would say the chances are not quite in your favor. Maybe Bitcoin would do something like this, you know, back test, do multiple back tests of that trend line and then move higher. That's possible. I'm not saying that absolutely is going to be the case. It may be that, no, this C wave is just flat out done. And so, you know, things that I would give up hope on, let me pull up Tau real quick. That's probably one that I would have maybe a little bit of hope that it'll get down there. But man, it's right back at a level of resistance right now. So there is some hope. You know, if you want to set a limit order at 258.99 or 259 basically, actually, you know, a few cents higher than that, because what I said about Solana, then it's fine. You want to do that, fine. I tend to think that this just is not going to happen. But if it does, that's going to be bought up aggressively, I'm telling you. And then some other ones, Jasmy, I'm going to say with a great deal of certainty, is not going to fill. And let me show you Jasmy. Somebody asked me about this on my live stream earlier, and this looks really bullish. This looks a lot like Say. And so this is one actually that I'm interested in looking for an ideal entry on a long for Jasmy because it has broken this downtrend. I thought it was going to go down potentially to this line. I really don't think that's going to happen now. So maybe an entry at this horizontal line here, 0.01228. But I'm going to start nibbling away at this and probably just buy some spot on Jasmy right now or thereabouts pretty soon. Some other ones, there's always a chance with something like Brett. And actually, now that I think about it, Brett didn't do it, did it? I'm pretty sure it didn't go down. No. So you can see my projection with Brett. It followed along pretty well, and I do wonder if this is now a deviation on Brett. There is a possibility, considering that Brett's a meme coin, that it could still get down to this 0.23 level. So you want to set a limit order on Brett. That's perfectly fine. Just plan for the best and expect, keep your expectations low. What was another one? So Fartcoin could always go down to 80 cents again. Injective is probably not. That's probably one that ship has sailed. So what do we do with Injective now? And I mean, looking at this chart, it might be a little too early to say that the ship has sailed on Injective. So I'm going to keep my limit order at $8.53. But another one that I'm not quite expecting that to happen, especially if it does, something like Solana could potentially from here go below the 126 level. I don't think it will, and so I would think that Injective would not as well. So overall, what do you do now? I'm sure a lot of you, let's say you bought this dip, you're up, and for some of these cryptos, you might be up big, you did a leverage long. What I would do, I mean, personally, like I've been saying, I'm not here for X's right now. I'm here for percentages. It's June. And not like July is going to be this roaring month where crypto just goes off to the races. What we should expect is just a lot of grinding, a lot of chopping, and not a big explosion in crypto in June and July. So for me, I'm here for percentages. And I've already sold most of the Solana that I bought on Sunday. And I've closed my VeChain long. I've exited, not necessarily to reload or anything, but just to strategize. What are the next entries on these cryptocurrencies? And so I would sell some, not financial advice. That's what I did. I'm more of a trader than most people. If you want to hold on, I think you got fantastic entries, and why not? Why not just from here, maybe potentially buy the dip in DCA? So what else can we say here? Jasmy, I wouldn't be surprised at all if Jasmy from here got to 243 again, because that one went a decent amount lower, and Pendle. So if I were to say which two from this could you expect to get to those levels, I would start to look at the ones that went a fair amount below. So Jasmy and Pendle, not Jasmy, Aave and Pendle would be my top two choices. You want to set a limit order at those levels. And then a third one would be VeChain, because I wouldn't be surprised at all if VeChain, instead of wicking well below it like it did last time, if VeChain did a tap of this level, 0.01913, and then shot off. I mean, you can see what happened last time we wicked below this level in April 7th. We had a significant wick below this level, and then we had a back test, and then we were off. So maybe this previous candle here was that back test. You never know. I mean, if you were to look at it on the 4-hour chart, you can see certainly a perfect back test of that level there, right there. Maybe that's it, but there's no guarantees that that's it. So why not, for the meantime, set a limit order right at that level, 0.01913, a little bit higher, So that's my strategy right now. I am going to set limit orders on VeChain and what were the other ones? VeChain and Aave and Pendle at these exact levels that I have laid out in this tweet. So I hope you were able to take advantage of all that craziness on Sunday. If you didn't, you're still in a decent spot, I would say. So hop on, and if you want a DCA right now, in my opinion, I think that's not a bad idea. You don't even want to worry about any of this. But anyway, that is all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week, and I will certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.